Hey,
And it's game
it's the
time. Here
Dumb
we are.
Marketer Show,
Here it
episode
is.
9. Wow, that was
What an
weird.
intro, man.
That was weird.
And
That was
fuego.
weird. Episode 9 of our awesome um, video podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And our last video did really well. It's like our third most viewed video and only has like 13 views.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're making progress.
We are making serious progress.
But here we are. And we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot to talk about today, but first, it has to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Okay, please share with us. First of all, share this exciting news that I'm scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and then tell us about everything else you've done in the last week to grow True Identity.
Wow, what an intro.
Yeah.
I had a sale today. It's been a while. I've been on a drought, as I've been claiming on the website that TrueMyIdentity.com has been declining in traffic, is kind of a whisper of what it used to be in the past. And I was gleeful to find a transaction in my inbox this morning, and it made me do a little jig. I text Stanky and I said, "Hey, ecom still works." So I had a confirmed sales, and it was awesome. It felt good. So I've got revenue in the revenue line, even though I'm still in the red. It's still good. It feels good to actually be.
So when's the last time you had a sale?
Long time.
Okay.
December, Christmas time.
So
December? No, November. Late November was the last one.
I know this is going to sound like a silly question, but for everybody watching this who is just setting up some sort of e-commerce site or something, like, I have to imagine that first sale you make is probably just like, wow. Like, you probably remember that from the first sale you made, right?
Yeah.
So it had been a while. So when you saw that come through, notification, email, whatever, were you like, oh my God, it's
It's
still
like
working?
walking in the desert for months without water. Not days,
Right.
months without water,
Yeah.
and then getting a sip. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Very, very pleasant.
Cool. That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. That was
And
really good.
it was a sweatshirt too, right? Wasn't it a sweatshirt? So it's a little bit higher value product?
No, it's just a tee, but that's
T-shirt.
okay. We'll
All right, yep,
sell
that's
any
fine.
swag to anybody at any time. You just let us know, and we'll take care of you.
That's awesome. That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a decisive t-shirt. That was the trait. It was a reflection design.
That's my favorite one.
Cool. It was in like a dark mandarin orange shade. And I think the young man in Pennsylvania is going to enjoy that. Questions?
I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon that you got a sale. I am.
All right. So I have some things that I'm cooking to grow this business because one sale is cool, but 100 sales would be cooler. So I need to build the site back up as we've been discussing. And because we are reprioritizing our businesses for this little video series that we're doing, I am going to offer what I've been plugging away on this week since the last time we recorded. And what I mentioned last time is I'm putting more time into building out a plan for my business.
Yep.
Officially revising it, updating it with new direction. Still focused on the primary core traits and where I'm going with it, but it is going to have a different product focus. I'm also extending content development, which is that's awesome tagline, by the way.
Sorry, I'm having too much fun with this scrolling banner.
Yeah, new toys are always cool.
Okay, sorry.
Squirrel chaser. The blog content, I'm going to be busting out a ton. By the way, I'm going to modify the plan. I had said 5 a week. It's probably going to be 4 a week because only 220 posts were finalized after I did everything versus the 300 to 350.
Okay.
So I can pull back a little bit, which felt good. So 4 a week will be less challenging, still challenging, but less challenging.
Mhm.
Um, so I've been working on the plan and building out what I'm going to produce. And in doing so, a big part of that is AI automation and leveraging a tool like Gumloop,
Mhm.
sponsorship here
Mhm.
in the future.
Yep.
Um, the the platform has I've built out a short little automation workflow, if you will. It is not an AI agent for those who are using the term incorrectly. It is a AI workflow. It incorporates a couple of Google Docs, a Google Sheet, and runs through ChatGPT 4.0 Mini, and it spits out a Google Doc. I use that as a rough draft. I go to Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and it's free. And I run a prompt that kicks out a better version of the blog post that is much more extensive and detailed and offers more examples. And then I asked Claude to pull any blog posts online that would be really good external back or links to include in the post. And then I save that to Google Drive to review and go through, blah, blah, blah. Now, the thing is I'm not automating all of this. I use Gumloop to automate the production of the original draft, and then I go to Claude myself and I do all that legwork.
Mhm.
Here's why. Um, Gumloop, if you do it for free, you get 1,000 free credits every month,
Mhm.
which with the process I've built is only 3 per run,
Mhm.
3 to get a draft.
Wow.
So I can kick out a lot of content with 1,000 credits.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, you're going to have to test some stuff and you're going to waste credits on that, but it is
Yeah.
what
Yep.
it is. To pay for the next stage of Gumloop is $97 a month.
Mhm.
It's not excruciating, but it's not something I want to pay right now.
Mhm.
You get 30,000 credits, which would be more than enough for what I need. But
Mhm.
the really cool part of it when you do start to pay is you can use the advanced or expert level of the AI tools, the
Mhm.
paid versions.
Yeah.
So your outputs are far better, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which you can run for free on your own, is not available to run for free in Gumloop. So you would
Mhm.
have to pay for the other membership. The other thing is that I can't trigger anything in Gumloop without a paid membership. So the spreadsheet that I'm working with, or the Google sheet that I'm working with, I can't just add a row and it'll automatically kick into gear. I have to do it manually. So there are features, obviously, that if you're going to build out a serious automation, it would probably make sense to be paying for these things so you could do it without all this other legwork. But
Yeah.
since I'm on the cheap and I'm,
Mhm.
bootstrapping it and scrapping along, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And it's not a ton of time and it actually is doable.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see it.
So, um,
Wow.
this is stage one. So, this is like all of the blog topic clusters, subclusters, titles, description of the posts. Here are the H2 to H4 blog outline, keyword, secondary keyword, and then I also offer just a quick rationale for the topic selection. This was to try to build out the appropriate content that I want on my site with where I'm trying to go with the new direction of the business. So everything is supposed to be working cohesively. And everything that I'm hearing right now about what Google's looking at websites is how cohesive the content is on the website throughout. So they're really trying to figure out if this site is authoritative, on particular subjects and there is a cohesive presentation of it. Therefore, I'm trying to prioritize that in everything I'm producing. So the first thing that I would do is after building all this out for whatever you may want, is to copy this here and I would move it over to this tab, which is just a placeholder for Gumloop. Put that in so all these elements are provided And then I go to my Gumloop. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the process that I built, and these are the nodes you can pull in. So the first one that they're going to pull is a Google Doc that I shared. Here's the link to it. This has all the 58 traits that I focus on and all of their definitions. So this is core to my business and my website and all the content I want to produce. It's founded on, it's the foundation of everything. So they have to, whatever tool I use to generate any content has to understand this. And the next one is, this is a plan that I just showed you, which is all of the blog post content topics and everything. Everything in that spreadsheet is in a Google Doc. It was easier to just do a simple doc that I could quickly scan versus try to do individual rows of data. So I put it into a Google Doc, gave it everything so it had a really good glimpse at what the overall package of everything would be. So it was cohesive. Then this is the Google Sheet that I just showed you. Nope, I take it back. This is a Google Sheet that is going to kick out this data. Sorry. This is a Google Sheet that will kick out this data in this format.
Yep.
Okay. And it will do that. It'll combine this, this, and this here in this AI piece. I'm going to scroll in on this so
Could
you
you
can kind of.
explain what that middle one was again? The middle one up at the top? The
This
one on the
one,
left was all your characteristics with their definitions. The one on the
this
far
one,
right was the spreadsheet. Yeah, what's that one?
this one is this plan. All of this content
Oh, okay, got it. Okay,
broken out into one single doc for it to review.
got it. Okay, cool.
Does that make
All right.
sense? Okay.
Yep.
So then you kick up the prompt. So this prompt is very extensive, right? I've got a lot of information here, and it incorporates these elements that I just shared with you to try to make sure it understands all of the information that I want, and then certain parameters for kicking out whatever I want the actual output to be. It's using ChatGPT 4.1 Mini. I said 4.0, so 4.1 Mini. And then it kicks out a Google Doc for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And that final output shows here. And when I run it along the side here, which we're going to do right now, because I just pasted that one in there. So it's just so you can see the whole flow. And if we run it, it's going to pull the data from this single row for my test. It's going to pull from here and run all of these processes. And you'll see the process here, and it'll time everything if everything works. Might be a little slow with the video production.
Wow.
So we're already at the Ask AI piece down here.
Yeah.
It took 7 seconds to get there.
Jeez.
So I think it was just under a minute to get a full-fledged blog post.
Yeah.
Now you could do all this manually, right? You could go into the AI tool and do this manually. But
Yep.
what's really makes this easy is it's already in documents. And if
Yep.
I just want to reference everything and pull it all together, I can do this for any blog post out of that plan at any time in a minute versus copying, pasting over and over and over into a prompt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So here, after 36 seconds and 3 credits, it kicked out a Google Doc for me. So we'll open that up. So this will be the rough draft. Now formatting can get a little funky with this. It's not consistent. Okay. So here's a original draft. Now because I'm a wiener and see it doesn't even follow all the rules. These SEO elements should be an SEO title and an SEO meta description. And that's okay. I'm not going to use it for the next step. I'm not really trying to fine tune this yet. I'm really using this for a rough kick out of information. But if you're doing this consistently and you wanted it to be a final output that you could use,
Mhm.
you'd have to make some tweaks. So I'm just not spending time on that. Right.
Holy cats, 36
So,
seconds.
right. So I'm just going to do a couple of tweaks here just because from a formatting standpoint, it drives me nuts. And then I'll show you the next step, which is I'll take this post that ChatGPT 4.1 Mini kicked out, and I will paste it into Claude, which will give me a far more extensive version. But I have a prompt set up to help me with this, and it's basically providing Claude with the same thing I gave 4.1 Mini in the automation. So it's at least comparable with the spit out that Claude's going to do, right?
Yep.
So let's make sure I've got. So you got to give me a moment.
And you're using the free version of Claude, correct?
Yeah, 3.7 Sonnet, I believe, is what the name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I just used it the other day. Yep, that's the one. Um, so far, what you created has cost you nothing.
That is correct.
Wow.
So something is going on here. I don't know what just happened. My computer is slow, so I'm moving faster than my computer, so it's causing some issues.
Yeah, that's okay. Um, while you're pulling that up, I'll just say that today's episode is sponsored by RC Cola.
Oh boy. I was hoping you put that plug in.
Me and my RC, because I'm like 70 years old.
Right? You didn't have to say that, but yeah, you are. All right,
Still
so
stuck in the
number
90s, baby. Still stuck in the 90s.
90s, baby. Now, since I've got the prompt ready to go, copy and pasted, okay? And we're going to run it in Claude. So we had this rough mini draft, and I'll be fair. I mean, this is decent. This is something you could work with if this is all that you really want to spend time on.
Yep.
Regardless of what I'm spitting out, I'm going to spend time on editing and reviewing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
this prompt is going to provide an outline that's going to tell me what would make this blog post better. So this is going to break out all the advice. And I've asked for SEO optimization. My prompt is rather detailed
Yep.
as far as what I'm really looking to achieve. So you can see that it's has a lot of thoughts based on that very simple rough draft that we got. So then after I get that, I will prompt it again to provide me with a new draft to incorporate everything that I want in the final draft. So this gives me all the goodies. Now, this will be much closer to where I want it to be.
Yeah.
Um, the thing is the thing that I found out about Claude is it's not, and maybe this is because I haven't set it up as well as I could because I'm using the free account, and there's probably some things you could do to make it better. But I think ChatGPT is more inquisitive in incorporating an individual's tone, style, and the way they write. And I think it's better at more of the emotional presentation of how you want things to come out
Uh-huh.
versus Claude, which is very corporate, very scientific, very literal. I don't think it is as good as ChatGPT incorporating on how a person actually talks. So,
God, look at how clean that output is.
right. And the coolest thing is literally you just copy this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to copy and paste, and it looks really good in a Google Doc. So once this is all done with doing its thing, Then I'll ask for the backlinks. We'll do that next. I think I have enough free stuff left. I've been tinkering in here all day, so who knows? You only get a limited run. I think, what is it, 10 a day? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But you only get so many free prompts. Um, so once this is done, which it almost is here, then I'll get the backlinks recommendations, and they'll tell me exactly where to incorporate it if you want to use them. Then I'll take all that information, copy and paste it into the override the rough draft that I got from Gumloop, and I'll save it to my Google Drive. And then I'll have my draft ready for review. So let's just run this prompt quick to see where the links are coming in hand. And so this is my new process. This is what I'm doing for 220 blog posts that I hope to produce 4 a week until they're done.
Okay, but I mean, all in, even just sitting here and watching it, you're still like 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Just to get all my prep work done. Like literally, I have a rough draft built.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So now I just need to review, edit, and publish. Right, I gotta find some images too. But so these are legit links, right? That you can look up. Make sure that it has the content you want. It provides a recommendation of where to link it in your draft. So that's all laid out for you. Then you just copy this bad boy, run over here, paste it right here. Okay, get rid of this garbage. And make sure you don't forget about your backlinks. Because you gotta have backlinks in this big of a post. You gotta have something heading out to other people. Give a shout out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Look at how well that turned out.
Jeez.
There's your post. And you save that bad boy and you're done. That's it.
I mean,
how do I get out of that? You log me out? Okay, there we go.
Wow. Okay. So first of all,
questions, comments, anyone?
Yeah, I'm a little intimidated by the prompts you wrote for all of that.
Yeah. They're extensive. I was
Yeah,
very
extensive and very like I'm just trying to imagine. I don't know if I've written a prompt sequence like that that's ever produced anything like that. Like that is probably one of the most thorough, most detailed instructional prompts
trial and error, man.
I've ever seen.
Trial and error.
Wow.
We'll try to. I mean, they're probably still not as good as they could be. I mean, there's prompts that people are wizards out there these days, and they've figured out all the magic. I don't know all those things. I've only been learning bits and pieces from people on social, so I've incorporated what I've learned, and it was just the general rule is the more information you can give AI to work with, the better the output you're going to get. So
yeah,
that's working that philosophy.
Okay, so that final draft there that you just copied and pasted in the document and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, edit that and add in your backlinks and all that. What are you looking at, another half an hour?
Probably an hour and a half, maybe, with images and everything.
Images, okay. So all in.
So
all in, call it an hour and 15 minutes.
I'm going to review it. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to clean it up and put the links in. I'm going to put some images in, and then I have to build it in my site and publish it. So hour and a half, probably.
And you want to do 4 of those a week?
Yep.
So you're looking at like 6 hours.
6 to 8 hours, probably, depending on how challenging it is to come up with images.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you saved yourself a heck of a lot of time.
Right.
Because, I mean, a post that thorough, that in-depth would take you 8 hours alone to put together, just one.
200 and mean, I don't know how many words that was. Let's just find out here. I'm assuming it's right around 2,200. 2,000 words has been pretty consistent for Claude's output. Um, I don't want to guess. That's just not wrong or right. Let's see. That post was, yeah, and I mean, and it doesn't have to be long. It's not necessarily the
Yeah.
criteria I'm looking for. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure it's thorough, right? Yeah,
Yep.
it's just under 2,000. So 1,930 words.
Well, coming from someone who's written hundreds of blog posts in the last couple of years, some that length or even more, it takes a long time. I'm talking about without AI.
Yep. Yeah, no, it takes a ton of time. I
I
told you,
think.
like one post I did earlier this year, the 4,500 worder, the
Yep.
core value one. I
Yep.
worked on that forever. I was rinky dinking around forever too. But I mean, legitimately, I probably put about 10, 15 hours into that post, like
Yeah.
over days,
I think
weeks.
the longest post I've ever written was my business model canvas post, and that I think is around 3,000 words or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that was easy a good 10, 12 hours for
Yeah.
sure.
And you're much faster at this stuff than I am. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but you are.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean I haven't written many that long in a long time, but what you just did, not even the editing and the photos and all that, but like what you just got, that head start, that jump in 5 minutes is amazing. I'm going to be honest with you. Last week, when you threw out your content goal, your 220 or whatever,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's
A lot.
how the heck is he going to get there?
Feeling
Um,
better about it now?
yeah, I think you just proved how you're going to get there. That was pretty incredible, actually.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, and again, on the cheap, I'm not paying a penny for that.
yeah, that's insane.
Right.
That's
Now,
insane.
again, per my text to you the other day, I don't know how long that's going to last. So I'm going to try to build this stuff out like ASAP, at least to get drafts before these tools start to change. And I think you had a legitimate point. Some of these tools are going to get cheaper just because of the competitive nature of the
Sure.
market. But like Gumloop, because they're just still learning and people are still getting acclimated to these kinds of tools, I think they're going to figure out that this 1,000 credits per month is probably going to either get reduced or go away.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? You could be sitting around tonight watching Netflix, have your laptop out, and just have it create drafts, store the drafts. You can edit later, build photos, but like just run one after the other, copy, paste,
Yep.
put it in the Google Doc, done. Move to the
Yep.
next one, copy, paste.
Yep.
Like you could rip out, 10, 20 in a night just watching
Yes.
a TV show.
Exactly.
And then you can just say one day, yeah, I'm gonna pick one and edit and throw it up and done.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
See the Claude Sonnet version, the free version. I mean, I can't do more than a few posts every few hours because of the
yeah,
limited time in the free account.
right. That's right.
So the Gumloop portion, though, the one that I am concerned about
Mhm.
going away, is really nice, and I'm going to try to get that done ASAP.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow.
Yeah. So maybe we shouldn't promote this to Gumloop today,
That's right, because we'd be like, lock that guy down.
right?
Lock that guy down. Okay, that was something else right there.
So that's what's been occupying my time this week.
Okay, I'm really glad you showed us that flow in Gumloop. Because I've only played around with, I just grabbed a couple of nodes once and did a couple, and since then I honestly haven't been in it. I've been working on other things.
Hmm.
But actually seeing a real example of one, and then thank you for running. I mean, thank you for walking through that whole entire process, because that was that makes it seem a little bit more palatable.
Yep. Now I'm not gonna kid you around. It took me
Sure.
solid 2 3 hours to figure out all the ins and outs of how to make it work
Mhm.
because I had, for example, the document you asked me about. What was that again? Can you show us that again?
Mhm.
That one was an Excel doc originally. I had it set up as an Excel doc and pull it in. When you hook up an Excel doc or a Google Sheet, it wants you to define all the rows. So to do that wasn't what I really wanted it to do. All I wanted to do was to read the information. Well, to do that in a sheet, you can't. So you have to put it
Yeah,
in a doc. Well, I had to convert everything into a doc in order to do that. It took a while to figure that out.
yeah, yeah.
So there are things you're just going to have to figure out.
Totally. I mean, it's like everything else in life.
Yep.
Um, and actually, if you ask me,
And there's probably
building
new.
a building a flow like that and forcing you to think through it, actually, I think really helps. I think
Yeah.
it forces you to think about how this information is coming together and how these places. So, if you ask me, it's probably a good thing it takes a while because you're going to get a better output like what you got.
Yeah. Right.
You
And the
know,
more
so
time you put into it, it will pay off.
yeah, totally. Wow, that was incredible. That was
So I know
incredible.
you're going to be setting that up this weekend.
I mean, when I
It's
was
not part of
looking
your.
at
It's not part of your book though, and I'm planting seeds here.
it, I like a good process flow and a
I
good
do.
automated flow.
I do know
Um,
this.
so part of me is like, "Ooh, that's really cool. I kind of want to set one of
Ah,
those." Then I realized I don't really have a
tiny
case
little
study right
star
now,
over here.
right? Yeah, yeah. When the time comes, though.
Yep.
Geez, you should just offer Gumloop consulting now. You're like a Gumloop expert.
Jeez. Dude, if you would if you would have watched me build that, you would have just been laughing. I was swearing. I was like, "What is not working? It's what is going on? What am I not doing right?" The cool thing about the tool, honestly, if you're going to go into Gumloop and play with it, ask it questions. Its AI chat is legit, and it will
Really?
reference anything you're trying to do. It will know exactly what the problem is, and it'll give you records.
Wow, that's cool. AI to help AI.
Honestly, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
best chat experience I've had on a tool. So I'll give them kudos there.
that's cool. Um, so 1,000 credits per month under the free plan per month.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Oh,
Yeah, if you're to go to the website, go to gumloop.com and check out the pricing that they break out. It shows per month. And if you sign up for the new account, this is even cooler. They'll give you 1,000 bonus points if you run one of the um, learning
yeah,
sessions that they offer in the email they send you.
yeah, yep. I think I remember that.
So you don't have to do all of the ones they give you. Just do one, and they'll credit you 1,000. So you get a
Wow.
1,000 extra right up front. So 2,000 credits. And if
Mhm.
you're trying to do, a blog post run like I just showed you, that's only 3 credits per. So
Yeah, yep, yep.
you get a lot of drafts done. That's just scratching the surface of the capabilities of this tool. That's the thing is, I mean, you
Yeah,
can use it for so many things.
yeah. I remember some of the examples the guy showed in the video when he was demoing it, and I remember there being a couple in there that I was like, "Oh, that could come in very handy."
They've actually built out some new workflows that I think you may actually want to try too. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so they've got some legit templates that you could try too. The one that I was going to build next is for work because we have an SEM Rush membership. I was going to do some serious keyword analysis and just put it on automate,
Mm.
which would be great. Just run every week or month.
Yeah, that's cool. So there's an SEM Rush connector in Gumloop.
It's expensive, I think, but yeah.
Mm.
When I say expensive, it's like I don't know, 10 credits or something to
Yeah,
run it.
sure, sure. Okay. Wow, wow, that was awesome. Thank you for showing that process.
Yeah, glad you liked it.
Yeah, I really did. I think that's a perfect example of when you're a solopreneur and you've got to do the work of 10 people. It's stuff like that that hopefully is going to help make up the time.
Yep, that's what we have to try to figure out and help each other do.
Yep, that's cool. Well, I mean, you showed me Gumloop, I don't know, what, a month ago or so? You have really gravitated. I mean, you're really picking it up.
This week's the only time I've spent on it since we talked about it last.
Wow. Well, so you built that whole thing in the last week or so?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday.
Jeez. Okay. Including writing all the prompts?
The prompts were no. The whole all of the blog content ideas, that was done the week before.
Okay.
So that was the whole that took a long time. So getting all of that prep work done is was time consuming. But the
Okay.
actual build of the flow was just Monday, Tuesday.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. And the Claude thing I just learned this morning. So you're welcome.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yep. Yep.
I kind of want to give you some of my stuff and just have you run it through your
Right.
system.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm
Here, dude,
serious.
here's a couple of spreadsheets of data. If you could just take that and run it through your
Right.
deal, that'd be great.
I know.
Wow. Okay.
I'll give you my template and you can fill it in and I'll run it through.
That's incredible. I don't even know.
I just charged 3 credits.
Well, the one you just did, the example for us, that was one you hadn't run yet, right? So you literally just created one of your drafts for your folder
That's correct. Yep.
in 5 minutes on this call
Yes.
for 3 credits.
Yes.
Wow.
No
That's cool.
money.
No money.
No money.
No money. Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
That
That's how it's done, baby.
that's incredible. All right.
220 blog posts later, I'll let you know how it shakes out.
So again, refresh my memory and tell everybody who's watching this now for the
Yeah.
first time. So you're going to try to get all these drafts first
Yeah.
while this is still free.
Yep.
You can try to do all that, get them all in draft format. Then you're going to start publishing them.
Then I'm going to build, yes. I mean, yes. Because I'm going to have to space out how I do the Claude actual draft. So it'll take some
Yeah.
while to get all those done.
Yep.
And I may just do those right before I publish, honestly, because Claude will get better over time. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So, yeah.
So last week when we talked, one of your main challenges that you think you faced over the last couple of years is just that Google's thought your site is kind of dead, stale, not really getting updates, and now you're literally going to flood it with new stuff.
I am going to plug it into a 10,000 volt outlet and kick it into gear and jumpstart its heart. I also wanted to let you know that Google is still crawling my site.
Really? Still?
2 weeks.
Every day?
Except for, I think today it actually took a dip. So it might be done now.
What is going on?
It's only missed 1 day in 2 weeks.
Okay, wait a second here. I'm seeing a correlation.
Yeah?
Google starts crawling your site and then you get a sale.
Huh? I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
My numbers have gotten better. My organic has gotten better. It's still dismal, but it's better.
Yeah, it's not up to January 2024 numbers.
No, God, no.
Okay.
No.
But
No, I've
but
lost
better
5%
better
of the
than
organic traffic.
better than 3 months ago. You're like we're talking like improvement over like
No, it's better than a month ago.
okay. All right.
Yeah, no, this last pre all of this Google crawling, I was getting further decimated. So it's and Google has actually over the last year and a half kicked you in the balls, walked away, and then came back and started making you feel good again. Then kick you in the balls, and then repeat the process over and over.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop on this one as I'm watching things inch up a little bit. But Hey, hopefully, after crawling for 2 weeks on my site, they found something maybe that's worthwhile to share with folks. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got a sale, so I'm going to go on that for now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, for
And I got
sure.
a killer plan that's going to juice this thing up, baby.
Wow. Okay, good deal. Whew.
Now, I need to hear about your stuff.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't have anything to show. Um,
That's
mine
okay.
is
You got a lot to tell. Show and
uh
tell.
got a lot of stuff going on. First of all, speaking of revenue,
Yes, I like that word.
yes. So some promising signs over here too, not necessarily on the traffic front. Traffic's been pretty much plateau over the last 90 days. Now that I'm 90 days past the Christmas season, because that week between Christmas and New Year's, my traffic just tanked. So I'm 90 days away from that now. So pretty much my trend line is like
Steady
parallel.
Eddie.
It's plateaued. So, however, that being said, um, my revenue from my two main revenue sources is the highest it's been in a long time.
Oh, that's great news.
Just to give you an example, last month, March, my AdSense revenue was $79 for the month. Um,
And that
already,
there were months you were doing like 300, right? 300 plus.
yeah. Well, I was getting close to 300. I think the highest month I ever had was like 271 or something like
Okay.
that.
All right.
That was right before the crash.
Okay.
Um, because I thought in March of 2024, I thought, okay, I'm going to actually cross 300 here in a month, which I was absolutely ecstatic about.
Okay.
Um, and then everything tanked and I went down. And so last month was 79-ish dollars. So already this month, and we still got 5 days left, I'm already at 100.
Oh, wow. There you
Uh,
go.
yeah. So I'm starting to creep back up. Um, so my AdSense is doing okay, hanging
Hmm.
in
That's a good thing.
there.
That's been a consistent one for you.
Yep. Okay. But the biggest one is, and I'm not going to use the company's name that I work with, but I do sponsored content um, for a company that I work with, and this month has absolutely been bonkers, bonkers. This is the highest month I've ever had doing sponsored content. I'm gonna make I'm as of later today, when they issue my next payment, I'll have been over $500 this month.
Oh my gosh, that is the highest.
12 sponsored content pieces
Holy crap. Good for
on
you.
these, and I think it's like 480. I think it's like 480. Yeah, because it's $40 per times 12, 480. I'm at 480.
Let's see. We're talking. Can you do me a favor and just put up a banner of $500 on bobstanky.com? The
Yeah,
reason,
no, yeah.
throw that stroller on the on the
Right here.
video.
Here we
Here's
go.
the deal. I was making a big deal out of Luke getting a single T-shirt sale, which I love. That makes me very happy. I'm gonna sleep good tonight because I just don't get a lot of good. I don't get a lot of sales. Bob, on the other hand, consistently has been getting legit AdSense dollars, and this side gig that he's got with the sponsored content, when they come through, offer a nice series of a revenue stream as well. So knowing that he's got 580 coming in this month, that's pretty decent. That's something to be really happy about.
I am taking it. I am taking it. It has been a record month. This will be my highest month ever in terms of,
Monthly revenue,
yeah.
that's awesome.
And it's basically been mostly passive. I mean,
Mhm.
it takes a little bit of work for me to publish a post and get it formatted, but literally it's like 10 minutes.
I was gonna say it's not a lot of time, right?
No, no, it's not a lot of time at all. And So yeah, whew, I
That's amazing.
so yeah, things are going well. Um, so no complaints there. So I'm good.
Revenue.
Um, yep,
Hashtag
revenues
revenue.
revenues doing fine. Which is great.
Revenue.
Hopefully, I'm going to get into a position where I can start reinvesting some of that and start doing some interesting things with it. But not worried about that right now because I'm working on other things. I am a couple things. Number one, I did attend a meeting this week about getting certified in Storybrand. So I had a meeting with one of their representatives, and it was a very top level, just kind of like what does it mean to get certified in Storybrand and all this kind of stuff. Um, and I'll share publicly because it's kind of hard to find. You can't really find it on their site. It's on a couple of Reddit boards, but to get certified with Storybrand costs anywhere between $8,500 to $12,000 upfront, and then
Damn.
it's $6,000 a year after that.
And okay. All right. Price off the table.
Yep.
What do they provide a business coach like you?
So at the lower level, the around the 8,000, 9,000, it's the training and materials and resources, the ability to say that you're Storybrand certified. So you get the little badge on your website. You get access to the certification directory. It's your basic certification type stuff.
Okay.
If you go with the higher certification, the 12,000, you also get access to a CRM system.
Hmm.
So they use oh crap.
CRM system that provides you leads.
uh, so that's the next call I'm going to be in.
Okay. All right.
That was just yeah. This one wasn't about that necessarily. It was more just like they were basically trying to pre-qualify me, um, and because actually it was a good lesson in the sales process because he got me on. He asked me what my goals, where I'm going, and everything, what I want to do, and then basically cut right to the punch and said, "It's X amount of money. So here's what we can do. We can have a follow-up call where we dig into more of the details. Or, and this is where you go for the kill.
Mhm.
Or, oh, we have a certification that starts next week. I can actually get you signed up today. And,
Right.
so I said, well, I'm not ready to do that. But I'm okay for a second call for sure.
Okay.
So in the second call, I have more questions. But yeah, we didn't talk about like, do they provide leads or anything? From what I can tell, kind of a similar model to, I believe, like Scaling Up or an EOS, where I think they do distribute inquiries.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, but I got to verify that. That's just me going off of the research I was doing on online.
Hmm.
Um, so again, I don't know if this is the path I'm going down. It's just something I happened to stumble across and thought it was interesting. And um, definitely I don't think necessary. Like it's not like a deal breaker that you have some sort of certification in any one of these platforms.
Right.
I also think it doesn't hurt.
Sure.
Um, but that being said, let's just take on the low end and let's just say 8 grand. 8 grand out of the box and 6 grand every year after that. If you don't set some sort of longer term commitment, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So like if I'm going into this, I'm going in with the mindset of um 3 years.
Hmm.
Okay. So that means I'm pretty much thinking I need $20,000 in some sort of offsetting revenue or whatever, or just be willing to eat that expense to really invest the time and attention into saying I'm a Storybrand certified coach.
Yep.
Um, oh, one other thing that comes with the Storybrand stuff is you do get access to all their coach builder stuff.
Okay.
So I mentioned that book last week. Um,
And that's at the intro level, right? The 8,000, like all
yeah,
the tools
yep,
and assets
yep.
and all
You
that.
get it. You get access to all the coach builder stuff, so all the templates,
Yep.
all the business building stuff, resources, all that stuff. That's all included in that as well.
So let me ask you this: I know you're personally interested in this um, system. Do
Mhm.
you do you see this as being a value add as a business coach to have in your offerings?
Yeah, I actually talked to the sales guy about this because he asked me why I'd be interested in using this.
Hmm.
And I said that I personally believe that over the next couple of years, a lot of businesses in my target market, small businesses, are going to be looking for ways to amplify their sales and marketing
They
activity.
start to realize the importance of it. Yep.
Yeah, and I think just given the macro and microeconomic climate that we're in right now, which we have to assume is going to somewhat continue or be tight. I really honestly personally think some businesses are going to say, holy shit, we got to figure out how we're going to start making this back. And I really think they're going to look to people who have some sort of framework to
Hmm.
lean and say, here's a new way to craft your sales and marketing messages
Yep.
that are speaking to your customers' needs during these weird times we're in.
Yep.
So that's why I kind of told Sales guy, I said, I think actually we've seen ebbs and flows in just my experience with companies that need help in different areas over time, right?
Yep.
Um, we've seen companies go through times where the labor market was, they were short and they needed to upskill employees, build leadership skills.
Yep.
Um, we've seen times when companies needed, better leadership coaching or training
Hmm.
or things of that nature. Now, I think we're going to start seeing I need sales training. I need my marketing team scaled up. I don't know if you noticed, but I've seen a huge rise in fractional CMOs.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a huge rise in
Yeah, huge
fractional
rise in
sales
fractional
managers.
period. Yeah.
Fractional anything. I've seen a huge increase in fractional sales leaders. I've
Yep.
seen a huge increase in fractional operations leaders.
Yep.
So companies who are saying, look, we don't necessarily want to invest in a full-time employee in that spot, but we need someone to come in and help
Yep.
us right the ship.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think, and again, I told the guy this, I said, look, I'm not saying I'm going with this. You can set me up with a second call. Happy to have it. Would love to have it. But I'm telling you, I'm still part of me says this isn't necessarily necessary, but I also think like it doesn't hurt to have other than the expense. The expense is
Hmm.
the risk. That's the biggest risk. Am I willing to give up 8 grand in the first year, especially if I'm not in a position where I'm utilizing it full time yet?
Yep.
That's my other concern is like, you know, if I were completely on my own, doing my own thing, then maybe, and I could market that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Like be more
Yep.
active, market it.
Yep.
Maybe it's a different story. But I still told him, I said, I don't know if I need anything like this. I'm just interested in exploring the possibility. So, um, and so I had that. So that was good. That was fine.
Here,
Uh,
before we jump off that, I got a couple questions. Hold
yeah, go
on.
for it.
Hold on to wherever you're going next.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so for this framework, or what is this a framework? Is that I should refer to it?
Yeah, yep. That's how
Okay.
he referred to it. I referred to it as that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So for this framework, and this is top of mind for me because these are conversations I'm having at work right now. So number one, does this framework help an SMB leverage its brand to be a key differentiator in how it's telling its story and how it's presenting its messaging versus just strictly focusing on messaging strategies for communication purposes? Like,
The
does it highlight the brand?
the answer is in the title, Storybrand.
Okay, just wanted to make
So
sure that that
yeah.
actually was part of
So
it.
under the framework, you position your brand as the mentor, the guide, the
So,
Yoda, the Yoda.
okay, good. Because,
Yep.
and here's why I'm asking. So, if this is something you choose to pursue, to your comments earlier about where things are going, future of the next couple years, I've preached this from the get go when I got into marketing. I
Mhm.
still believe the brand is still the most powerful asset that a business has.
Yep.
I don't think many SMBs truly understand what that entails because brand is just so vast. It's so there are so many meanings and parts to it that it's
Yep.
very hard to get your head around. But
Yep.
you spend time in it, you start to realize just how crucial it is.
Yep.
If this framework can help SMBs figure that out and how to present it in not only sales but everything,
Mhm.
I would say that this kind of framework is what every SMB should look to invest in. The other
Correct.
thing that I would mention is, and this is again a question, if in the framework they offer different strategic ways to position your messaging, for example, and you were kind of alluding to some of the examples of things changing in the market
Mhm.
or the environment or your team or whatever. Um, right now, more than I've ever experienced in my professional career, the consumer is struggling with uh, getting enough value for their dollar. They don't have enough dollars to spend right now. They're
Mhm.
trying to figure out how to get as much as possible for every dollar they have. And I don't think that's going to change in the near future.
Nope.
I think we're all struggling, and I think we're going to continue to struggle. And I think when we're looking to buy something and make a decision, the top consumer decision right now is value. What am I getting for my money?
Mhm.
So, if this framework can offer an SMB solutions for specific consumer mindsets, it
Mhm.
is going to be game changing for their organization. Is that something that they actually offer?
I mean, based on my knowledge, my study of it, reading the book, um, that's essentially that's essentially at the end of the day exactly what the mentor is supposed to be providing the hero of the story with, providing that value to the end consumer in this case. So what's weird about this scenario is like, okay, let's say I get certified in StoryBrand.
I'm so glad we're doing this right now. Go on.
I'm teaching a company how to implement StoryBrand to use that with their customers. So I'm like two levers removed from their end
Yep.
customer. So I'm trying to think of
Yep.
an example. Like, let's use a really dumb example, but like, let's take an airline. Okay, consumer has to travel somewhere. They're strapped on money. Actually, this is a problem that's happening. In fact, I don't know if you heard. I think it was United Airlines is cutting back their flights
Yeah.
because of demand. Demand is
Sure.
shrinking.
Yep.
Okay, so this is actually a real issue. Okay,
Yep.
so let's pretend I'm certified in the Story Brand, and United Airlines hires me to come in and says sales are struggling. Um, you know, geez, what do we do?
Yeah.
I come in, and again, I'm just making this one up on the fly, so it might
Sure.
not make complete sense, but let's just roll with it for a second.
I'm listening.
I'm telling United Airlines, okay, let's implement this story brand framework. Your hero is the consumer,
Hmm.
and they have a problem, and you're the mentor. You're the person who's going to help them get past their problem. And you're going to do that by providing this value, right?
Yep.
This is your value prop, and then you're going to walk them through the process. And maybe this is a bad example, but
You're winging it. It's all good.
I'm trying to make it work as I'm talking through it. But at the end of the day, it's like this is cascading down because the first thing I'm doing is I'm trying to build my story brand.
Sure.
So my story brand is I'm the mentor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to teach United Airlines, who's my hero in the story,
Yep.
how to create their value prop to their hero. So it's like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's kind of cascading down. But at the end of the day, my teaching them the way is teaching them how to convey that value
Okay.
to their consumers. So I don't know if I'm really answering your question other than um, the only way you get someone to that point is actually it's really funny because I just had a huge presentation on this a couple of days ago. We were talking about membership and conveying value
Mm.
with retaining members
There's a real conversation happening in every
of an
business.
organization, right? And at the end of the day, no matter what business you're in, no matter what framework you use, no matter what your business model is, no matter what industry you're in, it does not matter. It all comes down to value. Even when times are good, even when people do have money to spend, in
Yep.
most cases, everybody weighs this equation in their head. Am I going to get more in return than what I'm investing?
Fair
Or
enough.
right? So, I mean, good times, bad times, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to say, I'm going to buy this thing for X amount. Am I going to get X plus in return?
Fair enough.
So I think it's kind of naturally built into trying to walk that consumer through the idea of how you're going to help them solve their problem.
Yep.
That's what Yoda tried doing, right? Yoda said, "I'm going to try to help Luke Skywalker." Uh, you know, who's the antagonist in Star Wars? I'm not a Star Wars guy. Darth Vader. What's that
I'm a
called?
Darth Vader. Yeah.
Yeah, but what was his whole thing called? The Empire or whatever? I don't know.
The yeah.
The dark side? I don't know what they're
Dark
called.
side. Yep.
I'm
You're
not.
right.
I'm not a
Empire
Star
and
Wars.
the dark side, both of those. Yes.
But like Yoda was trying to provide some value to Luke. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah. He's showing him the
so
way. Yep.
yeah, it's just how it's packaged up. But so I don't know if I answered your question really good.
You
But at
you
the end of the
you
day,
you tried. I think you what you said is all valid, and I think how they're going to package it up will be a way to deliver on what I asked.
yeah,
The
yep,
reason I brought it up is because as a person in your seat who would be a coach providing this framework to your customers, right? I'm sure, based on what you just said, Storybrand's going to give you templates
mhm,
like we experienced with Traction, right? Cleary
mhm,
gave us all kinds of documents and diagrams and forms
mhm,
to fill out that provides directional information for the
yep,
business to execute on, right?
yep, mhm,
Where it becomes challenging for the SMB, and we experienced this in our own meetings that we had, is the SMB and the staff attempting to try to execute based on what they've learned or done with the framework,
yep,
right? So it's one thing to say to recognize the value prop. It's another thing to communicate the value prop effectively for different changes in the market, right? So, how
mhm,
you execute is, I guess, where my question was going because I'm hearing from brands in just listening to the social chirping that some brands are trying to figure out how they position who they are, knowing that the cheaper alternative is a real option for their existing customers now that weren't before. And the reason is because those customers are willing to forego some of the luxury of this brand that they used to purchase
mhm,
due to cost.
mhm,
So yes, there is um, a consistent value that any product can offer. But when you start
yep,
losing customers to a cheaper alternative, you need to figure out how to reposition yourself.
yeah, totally, yep.
So,
I mean,
or you
I
just
mean,
weather the storm, right? And
I
just
mean,
hope it's a blip in the radar.
yeah, yep. So pretend there would have been another Yoda, cheaper Yoda
Hmm.
that Luke Skywalker could have gone and talked to, right?
Yep.
If you're the original Yoda, you need to prove to Luke Skywalker why your price, while it's more expensive, is still provides better value.
I'm going to tell you right now, there are tons of Jedi Masters, but nobody was Yoda, baby.
I know exactly, right? Okay, but if Yoda had a process and Yoda showed you, here's exactly the training process I'm going to put you through. This is exactly what I'm going to teach you to do. I've got a process. You're going to go through this phase. You're going to go to this phase. You're going to do this phase, and then you will be the Jedi. You'll be the Jedi warrior, right? But the other Yoda, the cheaper Yoda, didn't have a process. He didn't have a process. He's kind of like, hey, I'm cheaper. I'm
Yeah,
cheaper, so use me because I'm cheaper. Like,
right.
I think that sometimes the cheaper alternative cuts corners. Look, we can look at this now like I watch my dollars. I watch my dollars pretty tight. I got to fly to Knoxville in a few weeks, and I could have flown Spirit because they're cheaper, but I instead chose a later flight, an inconvenient time to fly Delta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I could have got there middle of the
They
day
are
with
first there, right?
well, yeah, and Delta only had one direct flight there,
One
and
direct
I was
flight, but you
yep,
get miles.
I do get miles. Yes, as I'm
Right?
yes, yep,
Perks, baby.
because I'm a Delta Sky Miles member. Okay, but they only had one direct flight, and it doesn't get there till like midnight. But Delta provides me enough value, not
Right?
even just in the rewards miles, but just in general, the experience that I
Yep.
get,
Much better.
the
Yep.
trust and safety that I feel with Delta.
Sure. Yep.
And so I'm willing to pay a couple extra $100 because Delta is going to show me the way. And they have a
Uh,
proven process that I follow when I use them. It's a nice mobile app experience, blah, blah, blah.
you
So,
better hit them up for a sponsorship on this video.
yeah, we got to hit up Gumloop and
Uh,
Delta now.
RC Cola.
And RC Cola. So, yeah, I think there's, Storybrand really is about. So here's the book. Um, the subtitle of it is "Clarify Your Message So Customers Will Listen." The key element of this book, if you ask me, is about recognizing your customers' pain points and then addressing those pain points through a process and helping them overcome their pain so that they can see success.
I gotta read that book. I'm gonna buy you.
As a marketer, you absolutely
Yeah.
have to read this book.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to read this book. It's great. It's and again, it's the story of every movie that's ever made.
Yep.
You have a protagonist who has a problem, actually becomes kind of the antagonist,
Ooh.
and then finds a mentor who then shows them the way, teaches them, and then they ultimately end up, defeating whatever the problem was.
This is exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So in the day job, we use Storybrand for all of our landing pages, all of our everything, all of our correspondence and communications. So just to give you an example, I work in the marine industry, and right now, boat sellers, one of their big pain points is uh, finding the right trained staff to run their service departments to fix
Mm-hmm.
boats. Okay, a lot of places that sell boats also fix boats. So our story brand says, like literally, the first content you get on a landing page for a piece of content that we have around this topic starts with an image of a guy sitting at a desk, and he looks like he's in pain. He's like frustrated. He's sitting in front of a computer, and it's like, have a service department that's undertrained, have a service department that's taking too long to fix boats, have a service department that's turning over people because they don't understand their job. We're here for you. Then
Fix
the
my
next
problem.
Yeah, the next section literally is, here's who we are and here's how we can help you. Then the next section right under that is our process. You're going to sign up for certification. You're going to get trained in this area, and then we're going to give you a bunch of resources that you can download. Then the next section down is, sign up today, become a member of the MRA. So like that's the Storybrand kind of framework. So that's kind of what we use for all of our stuff. So as a business coach, I would have to position my Storybrand as first I got to identify the issue that one of my segments is having. And so this last week, I'm working on two different sets of products. Okay. I'm working on coaching products, which are the actual delivery product that I want to deliver long term.
Mm-hmm.
And then these other products over here are more lead magnet products. They're more like free downloads, assets, resources that I can use, in concert with each other. But the big ones over on this side, the big coaching products, what I'm going through the exercise of is what issue does a potential prospect have that I can come in and position myself as someone who can show them the way.
So,
Um,
so from what you're gathering from the book, because you really haven't had a chance to really talk to anybody about how everything really works, right? As far as getting executed with a client, right?
yep.
So, based on what you know from what you're doing at work, implementing it as an SMB, and as a potential business coach who will coach SMBs,
Mhm.
do you feel, based on your current set of knowledge, that you would be able to take a business if you were brought in the loop on this framework and paying member and whatever?
Mhm.
Do you feel that this framework would take a client, you would be able to take a client from, hi, my name is Bob Stanky, and you have this problem, and I'll offer these solutions, to absolute granular execution on for your SMB client on how everything will be done in order to achieve their objectives. So from A to Z,
Mhm.
you would be able to do that.
Well, I think it's going to depend on the client because, well, first of all, let's remember that not every client's going to need a Storybrand framework. So, but let's pretend I'm talking to one that does need that, right? So I come
Sure.
in and I make the pitch on Story. So I'm going to use Storybrand as my marketing tactic for my business.
Yep.
As my but the clients that's attracting might not need Storybrand. They might need something else. But let's pretend they do need Storybrand.
Yep.
It'll be clients that are more dealing with sales and marketing issues. Okay.
Yep.
So I find out they need Storybrand. I think that this is where the offering splits a little bit. I envision myself coaching them on, first of all, what is the framework and how does the framework work? And I probably give them a copy of the book to their leadership team. And I say, read this.
Yes.
And then I say, okay, this is what you should do. Now, do you have the staff and talents internally to create this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
If they do, then I'm Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coaching and mentoring them through the process of creating the assets, creating the landing pages, creating the experiences to execute that. If they don't have that stuff in house, can I do that myself? Probably not. Only because I'm not going to understand their businesses, their customers well enough to. That's what a consultant does. That's the big difference in my head between a consultant and a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want me to hire some consultants to come in and build that stuff? Okay, cool. But I'm not necessarily going to be sitting there writing web copy, or that's not what I want to do.
Okay.
Um, I mean, could I do it?
Makes sense. No, I get it.
Maybe, but I don't know if that's the position I want to put myself in.
So what else were you knocking out this week?
Um, yeah, just working on those products primarily. Um, I do have a blog post and I have a blog post that I also want to create. So I'm trying to build a process for how to get my content out to more places to start building up a little bit more awareness of who I am and what I do. So I'm trying to come up with this process to take one blog post and create a longer form video out of it, a series of shorts, reels, snaps, You know, think every place you could put some sort of content,
Hmm.
audio, a podcast,
Yep.
um, and build this kind of distribution network of taking one idea and concept. And I have a really good one right now that I don't have a blog post done yet. It's about halfway written. That I think is perfect for using as content in other areas. I need to start continuing to do more of my own marketing, if you will.
Mm.
So I got to get back on the content train. I've been off it for a while. I haven't really been writing blog posts in a while. I think in April I've only written 3 blog posts. In March I did like no, I've done 2. I'm sorry. In March I did like 1. In
Mm.
January or February I did like 2. So I haven't really been writing very much. So I want to start doing that again.
Yeah.
And kick that. But really the primary focus right now is building out those coaching products.
Okay.
That's been where the bulk of the mind share has been this week.
No, understandable because those are the steps you're trying to follow right now. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I am really trying to follow the coach builder format.
Yep.
And so the first thing is you got to have something to sell.
Yep.
So a lot of research on um, an offering I want to do. So let me give you let me give you an example real quick. I'll give you an example real quick. This is not one I'm necessarily thinking about, but it's closely related. Um, Strategic planning facilitation.
Okay.
Um, so there's professionals out there that are specifically hired to guide strategic planning sessions. We just hired one at work a few weeks ago. I think I told you about the gentleman I met and went up to him and said, "Hey, I want to be what you are," kind of thing. That's what he's hired to do. He's hired to come in and he leads workshops, basically
Yep.
2-day workshops to help companies come up with a strategic plan. He doesn't necessarily come up with the strategy. He helps guide them down a path through discussion, facilitation, small group work, that kind of stuff, to get them to the end of the planning process.
Got it.
Um, I've been spending a lot of time learning, researching how they do that. I've watched YouTube. There's a YouTube video for everything out there. There
Hmm.
are YouTube videos of people doing meeting facilitation.
Oh, sure.
Like literally, I found one the other day. It was like 4 hours long, and all it was a camera in the back of a room that was recording this guy guiding this group of people through a facilitation session.
Hmm.
I watched the whole fucking thing.
I was gonna say you watched the whole thing, didn't you?
Of course I did. And I took notes. I took notes
That's awesome.
because I was trying to pick up on like what tactics was he using? How was
Yeah,
he getting
yeah.
people to talk? How
Right.
was he breaking them up into groups? What
Sure.
were the trigger questions he was asking them? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's something similar to what I want to do. There's another very specific service I want to offer that I think I want to offer that I was like, okay, I like that. I want to find out who else is doing it and how they're doing it, kind of thing.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the middle of it. Here's the thing: I need to set an endpoint for me because, like,
I was, I was gonna say something, but you keep going, dog.
there's a million people out there that have resources on how this is done. It's like I could spend the rest of my life just learning how they're doing this.
Sure.
So I gotta like just try to find the best ones and learn from those, and then kind of build my own. And not I'm not gonna copy because I don't want to copy. I want to put my own spin on it.
Hmm.
Like when I was watching this 4-hour video, I was like, okay, I like how I did that. Here's how I would do that. Here's like, here's another way I would phrase it. I want to create my own way to mentor or train somebody down, you know, a path.
I would highly recommend you do that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of impossible not to. It's impossible to carbon copy somebody else. You have your own personality, you have your own voice, your own style. Um, I facilitated a meeting at work this week, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. And it again just reminded me why I think God put me on this earth. And it was to do that type of thing. because I get
Yes,
lit up about it.
I've seen you present. I know how you work, and I know what it's like on how you execute. I don't know, man. I don't watch any more videos. You don't need that. I would just focus on the other stuff. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to learn how to ask questions or lead somebody on. I think you know how to do that naturally. I really do.
Yeah, you know what the fear is? I'll get vulnerable for a second. I think I'm really good at that when I'm in an environment where I know the people and I know the business and I know the general topic that I'm facilitating.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. I
Where
think
my
most
biggest
people
fear
don't.
is,
Yeah,
where my biggest fear is going into a business cold.
not as familiar. Yep.
And I do a little research, but I'm just saying, people I don't know, business I don't know, and now I'm going to try to guide them to some sort of conclusion.
No, that's fair.
That's where I
That's
think the
totally
fear.
fair.
That's why I'm watching these people try to do it because I'm trying to see like what are the questions they're asking, what are they, So
I don't know,
that's
man. You're going to be dealing with people the whole time, so I mean, it's like you never know what you're going to get when people are involved. So it's like I kind of feel like you're going to do your due diligence. You're going to know what you can
yeah,
get publicly, and if you have
yep,
certain things that you want to do pre-meetings or whatever, you'll get that figured out, and you'll follow the templates and whatever it is that you decide on.
yep,
It's wild, wild west when you're standing in front of them, though. So I really don't think that from a prep standpoint. I don't know, man. I just feel like you'll go with the flow. You're good like that.
yeah. I think that'll work. Um, I was going to get the book up, but it's way at the bottom of my stack, so I can't reach it. But the other element I'd really like to try to do is create my own blue ocean strategy.
Mm.
Like I've seen people do these things. I've watched a ton of people on video doing them on YouTube, and they're all pretty much the same. I'm trying to find how can I be different.
Yeah, are you gonna
Like,
do? Are you gonna do the membership thing?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's I'm toying. Oh, wait a second. I think I know what you're asking. You're asking, am I going to specialize in that area?
Correct.
Yeah, what's funny is in this presentation I gave this week at work, it was primarily focused on membership.
Huh.
And when I'm sitting back, I'm like, man, I've spent 20 years of my professional life working in the membership model.
Yeah. So
I I I,
I'm asking. Are you thinking that's probably your niche or no?
I know just about everything there is to know about the membership business model. Literally,
Huh.
literally. So I'm
Interesting.
like, the reason why Luke is bringing this up because I texted him and said like maybe I should just niche down and only help membership businesses.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
out of the park is what I'm thinking.
you're thinking Jose Batista game 6.
Right. Yeah. Why would
Yeah,
you know?
no. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean that
Yeah. Maybe.
maybe that's my blue ocean. I don't know. I don't know yet.
If it isn't, what would it be?
I don't know. It could be in the way my content's delivered. It could be in the other offerings that I offer on top of the coaching or facilitation. So some of these ones that do this type of work, they come in, they facilitate, and they leave. Some come in, facilitate, and then create a wrap up document that wraps all the strategy stuff up and is delivered in a nice bound deal, right? I mean, some are done in person, some are done online, some are hybrid. So what's a new way to deliver it? I've mentioned a couple ideas to you in the past about other ways to deliver coaching materials. Could my business be a membership model? Could a lower tier be a non in person delivery of a coaching service or on demand resources that are available for download or viewing or whatever? Whereas the high tier membership is in person, white glove, you get X number amount of hours of my time. Like there's so many ways that's what I'm trying to define. I'm trying to define what's my business model. How am I going to deliver the value I know I can bring? How am I going to deliver it? Am I going to deliver it on demand over, over some sort of content delivery system, or is it going to be in person? Is it a hybrid of both? Whatever.
I'm going to offer 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably only worth about that much. But if somebody is going to buy your services, okay, my 2 cents,
Mhm.
they're going to buy your experience,
Yeah.
period.
Yep.
All right. So that's what's going to drive the needle. It
Yep.
is not going to be whether you have 6 different packages. It is not going to be Um, it is not going to be how you execute all of the little doodads with your offering. It is
Yep.
going to be I am Bob Stanky with 20 years experience doing this. You are going to be the quote unquote Greg Cleary of this niche audience. And that's what's going to steer them to work with you. It is not going to be all of the other bells and whistles that you decide on how to execute. It's not.
Sure. Yep.
But the point of where you're going to further differentiate is all of the bells and whistles. But you can figure that out later. What you need to sell is I am this.
Yep. Yep. You're
You know what
totally
I mean?
right. Yep. Hmm.
My 2 cents.
No, you're dead on. I mean, um, and some of that, ironically, is being defined in the products I'm trying to put together because the products ultimately are what my experience is and what value I bring.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's helping me define what it is I'm bringing to the table. Not necessarily how I'm bringing it to the table. That is more of the mechanics of it, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right now, the reason why I'm spending so much time on this is because I do want to bring my unique experience and wrap that into a value package that someone says, yes, I value this guy's been working on this for 20 years or whatever, where what he's got to say is going to offer us something of value. So, yeah, no, it's a laborious process mentally
Oh, I know.
to think about how to create something of value. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let anybody ever tell you that is easy
No,
because it is fucking hard.
no.
It is crazy hard. It's mentally taxing to create something of value, whether it's physical or it's a delivered in a verbal service.
And you know what? You can do it
Mhm,
easily.
mhm,
Okay. You can execute a coupon. You
mhm,
can do it easily, right?
mhm. Yep.
But it is not going to be something that is sustainable over the long term to drive a business to grow.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Okay, that's the
Yep.
key. That's what's hard.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Okay. Well, we should put a bow on this. We're at an hour and a half, so it's all good.
Wrap it up. We're all chitty chatty today.
Wrapping up. Everybody better like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. There's so much stuff to do.
Get our sponsors on board.
Just do it all. Gumloop, give us a call. Delta, give us a call.
Maybe we should
RC
just throw
Cola.
their commercials in the middle of our video, just so
Who
we can
makes?
force the sponsorship.
I don't even know. I don't even know who makes RC Cola now. Who owns RC Cola?
Not
Schweppes? I think it's
Pepsi?
Schweppes.
No, it's Pepsi Core. Oh, maybe it is Schweppes.
No, it's not Pepsi. It's one of those because it's the same company. It's the same company that makes like Squirt and all them. So
Mm,
actually, it is produced by Dr. Pepper 7 Up Inc.
there you go.
So there you go. So Dr. Pepper 7 Up Inc. Give us a call. Uh, we
Just
have
had
a membership
Dr.
package
Pepper
available.
yesterday. It was delicious. Thank you very much.
We have a sponsor membership package available for you, I'm sure.
Right?
We
Exactly.
can work something out. No, it's all good. All right. You got to go visit truemidentity.com. Go buy yourself a
Yes.
t-shirt.
Please.
Yep. I mean, why not? First,
Yep.
though, yeah, take the questionnaire because you got to find out what your personality traits are.
Word up. Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Then pick one
Start.
of those and buy the shirt. Actually, buy the shirt and the sweatshirt, and let's give Luke some margin. Um, that would be great. Thank you.
Big fan of the coffee mugs. If you're a coffee drinker, get yourself a mug. It's a good way to kick the morning off.
I have the mug, and I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna get the mug, get the big one.
Yes, get the big one. 20 ouncer. Don't
Yep,
mess
that's the
around.
one. That's the one I have, and I love it.
Don't mess
I
around.
love it. Love it.
Is it
Love
$20?
it.
15. I don't remember.
I think it's 15. I think it's 15.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
the only
so
thing I
informative
would
with my own products. It's awesome.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And then if you're in my type of like, if you love the kind of stuff I do, I would only ask just subscribe to my newsletter because I am building some really cool stuff that is where it's going to get released.
Hmm.
So just go to
And if you
bobstinky.com.
are a fellow SMB owner, okay, one, check out ways to automate your stuff, whether it's Gumloop or whatever it is. Try to figure out how you can automate your workflows. And two, if you need further assistance, give Bob a call because he's really good at what he does, especially if you're a member niche program.
Oh man, you're
Saying,
awesome. You're awesome. There's the URL.
boom.
I'm going to build out some of these banners so they're ready to go on the fly.
There you go.
Okay, my friend. Good times.
Adios, hasta luego.
Adios. See you later.
Go drink your margaritas.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, gotta hit the other button.